The grand chamber of the alien council was alive with quiet voices. Long tables curved in a half-circle, and many different species sat on high seats. Their scales, fur, and shells reflected the soft lights from above. It was not often that all of them gathered, but today was special. Today they were meeting the human ambassador. Humans were still new to the Galactic Union. They had arrived only a few cycles ago, but already stories about them had spread across many worlds. Some called them bold, others called them reckless, and some whispered they were dangerous. Yet, despite the fear and rumors, the aliens had grown curious about humans. They wanted to understand these newcomers better. And so, they decided to ask for something simple, something harmless. The council leader, a tall alien with silver eyes, stood first. His voice echoed across the chamber. "We have a request for the humans. A small gift to strengthen friendship between our kinds. Nothing of war, nothing of trade. Something gentle. Something safe." The other members nodded. Gentle was the key. Safe was important. Many species in the chamber lived quiet lives without violence. They had never needed sharp claws or strong teeth to survive. Their worlds were peaceful, their homes calm. For them, danger was a story from history, not a part of life. And so, they decided to ask for pets. Harmless pets. "Human ambassador," the leader continued, "we ask you to bring us animals from your world. Harmless animals. Soft, loyal, and without threat. We wish to learn how humans keep companions, how they share bonds with creatures. Perhaps these pets will bring comfort to our children and joy to our homes." A murmur of agreement spread through the chamber. Many of the aliens smiled, imagining soft creatures running around their homes. Some pictured small furry beings with bright eyes. Others thought of playful animals with gentle sounds. They imagined laughter, joy, and warmth filling their halls. All eyes turned to the human ambassador. He stood at the center of the chamber, tall among the alien seats. His dark uniform carried no weapons, and his hands were folded calmly behind his back. For a long moment he said nothing. He only looked at them with steady eyes. Then slowly he smiled. The smile made some of the aliens shift uneasily. It was not unkind, but it carried a weight they did not understand. His eyes narrowed just slightly, as if he held a secret no one else could see. At last the human spoke. His voice was calm and deep, but it carried easily to every corner of the chamber. "You wish for harmless pets," he said. "Creatures that will bring you peace. Animals without danger, soft and safe." He paused. His smile grew a little wider. "Yes, I understand. Nothing more. No promise, no detail, only those words." The leader tilted his head. "Then you will bring them?" The human bowed lightly. "Yes, I will bring them, and I will bring them with a smile." Some members clapped their hands or waved their appendages in approval. The request had been accepted. Seemed simple, and the humans seemed agreeable. Soon, their people would enjoy the joy of human pets. The chamber buzzed with soft excitement. But not all were convinced. A few members exchanged nervous glances. They had heard stories about Earth's creatures. On some reports, Earth was called a planet of hunters, where survival meant strength, speed, and sharp teeth. If that was true, what did humans even consider harmless? One elder alien, her voice slow and careful, asked the question others feared to ask. "Ambassador, when you say harmless, do you understand what we mean? Small creatures. No fangs. No claws. No threat." The human's eyes met hers. His smile did not fade. "Of course," he said softly. "I know exactly what you mean." He did not explain further. The silence that followed was heavy. Some aliens shifted in their seats again, unsure. But then, the leader broke it with a firm nod. "Good. Then it is decided. The human ambassador will return in one cycle. He will bring harmless pets for us to learn from and to love." The chamber erupted in cheer. Excited voices filled the air. Already, aliens were imagining the soft creatures playing with their young, bringing calm to their homes, making them laugh. They felt safe, happy with the thought of harmless pets. But not everyone cheered. A few still watched the human closely. They saw the way his smile lingered even after the decision was made. It was not the polite smile of agreement. It was something else, something deeper, something that hinted at knowledge only he carried. When the meeting ended, and the chamber began to empty, whispers followed him. Why did he smile like that? Do you think he truly understood? Or do humans see harmless in a different way? The human walked out of the grand doors without answering a single whisper. His footsteps were steady, his shoulders straight, and his grin still fixed upon his face. And so the request was made and the promise was set. They asked for gentle pets. They asked for safety. But as the human left the chamber, one thought hung in the air, heavy and unspoken. What exactly would he bring? Across the stars, the alien council prepared for the human's return. Excitement grew in every corner of the city. Word had spread far beyond the council chamber. Ordinary citizens now waited to see the strange creatures humans called pets. Families whispered to their children about soft animals that would play and cuddle. Merchants prepared to sell supplies for feeding and caring for the newcomers. Everyone believed the human would bring something harmless and sweet. The spaceport was decorated for his arrival. Banners hung from tall towers, glowing lights lined the landing pads, and groups of aliens gathered in wide circles. The council members stood in the front row, their bodies upright, their faces eager. Above them, the sky shimmered. A dark shape appeared against the clouds, sharp and metallic, like a blade cutting through the air. The human ship descended slowly, engines humming deep like thunder. The crowd grew silent, watching with wide eyes as the craft lowered itself onto the landing pad. The ramp hissed open. White mist spilled out, curling over the ground. The sound of heavy steps echoed from within. Then the human appeared. He wore the same dark uniform as before, simple but sharp. His boots struck the ramp with steady rhythm. His face was calm, his eyes cold but confident. And once again, that smile was there, thin, curved, unsettling. The crowd cheered anyway. They waved their arms, their tails, their wings, whatever limbs they had. They shouted greetings in many voices. To them, this moment was a celebration of trust. Behind the human, several large containers rolled forward on grav lifts. Each one was tall and covered with thick black sheets. The crowd leaned forward, whispering, eager to see what rested beneath. The containers rattled slightly, as if something inside was moving. A council member raised his hand. "Ambassador, we are honored by your return. Have you brought what we asked for?" The human nodded. "Yes, they are here." The black sheets shifted again. A low sound came from within, too soft to be clear, but sharp enough to make a few aliens tense. The leader of the council stepped closer. His silver eyes reflected the containers. "Our people have waited with hope. The harmless pets you promised will be the first bridge of joy between our worlds." For the first time, the human's grin widened. "Yes," he said, "harmless." The way he spoke the word made some in the crowd uneasy. It sounded more like a secret than a promise. The grav lifts carried the containers toward the council platform. The crowd leaned in closer. Some of the younger aliens cheered, already imagining small, fluffy creatures leaping out to greet them. A few even stepped forward, ready to touch, ready to play. But others stepped back. They noticed the human's eyes. They noticed the way the containers rattled harder the closer they came to the crowd. And they noticed the guards he had brought. Two humans in heavy armor, standing silently, their hands resting near their weapons. One elder whispered to another, "Why guards? Why armor? If the pets are harmless?" The question spread quickly, whispered from voice to voice, but no answer came. The human stopped at the platform. He placed one hand on the largest container. For a moment he said nothing. He only looked at the council, then at the crowd. His silence stretched long, building tension. Everyone could hear the faint scratching from inside the container. Everyone could feel the air grow heavy. Finally, the human spoke. "You asked for pets, gentle companions, creatures that will bond with you, protect you, and bring you joy. And so, I have brought them." With a swift motion, he pulled back the black sheet. The crowd gasped. Inside the container, behind strong metal bars, sat small creatures with glowing eyes. Their fur was dark and sleek, their teeth sharp and white, their claws curved like hooks. Yet their bodies were small, almost kitten-like in size. One of them tilted its head, watching the aliens with curiosity. Another pressed its paws against the bars, releasing a low growl that vibrated in the chest. The aliens stepped back at once. Whispers turned into frightened cries. "These are not harmless. They have fangs. They are predators." The human only smiled, calm as ever. "They are young," he said softly. "Cubs, still learning, still harmless, for now." The words sent a chill across the platform. "For now." The leader's silver eyes narrowed. "Ambassador, what creatures have you brought us?" The human's grin returned, sharper than before. "Predators, born hunters. But when raised with care, they do not harm their family. They protect it. They bond deeper than any harmless creature ever could." The council chamber fell into uneasy silence. No one knew what to say. The cubs inside the container growled again, but their growls were strange, half playful, half threatening. One even rolled onto its back like a kitten, showing its belly, before snapping its teeth at a shadow that passed. The aliens were torn between fear and fascination. Some saw only danger in their sharp teeth. Others saw beauty in their glowing eyes. But everyone felt the same question burn in their minds. Did the human bring them a gift or a warning? The human stepped away from the container, still smiling. His voice carried across the spaceport. "Do not fear them. They are only cubs. Treat them as family, and they will love you. Threaten them, and, well," he let the words hang in the air, unfinished. The silence after was louder than any shout. The crowd no longer cheered. They no longer waved. They only watched the human and his predator cubs, caught between awe and dread. And in that silence, the human's smile looked less like kindness and more like a challenge. The spaceport was silent. The predator cubs shifted inside the cages, their glowing eyes watching everything around them. Their small bodies looked playful, but the sharpness of their teeth and claws told another story. The aliens could not look away. They had asked for gentle creatures, harmless pets, but what stood before them looked like the beginning of a nightmare. One cub pressed its nose against the bars. Its breath came out in small huffs, fogging the cold metal. Then it gave a short, sharp sound, a growl that seemed too deep for its size. The crowd flinched. The council leader raised his silver eyes toward the human. His voice was calm, but his hands twitched in unease. "Ambassador, these are not what we asked for." The human tilted his head. His smile never wavered. "You asked for pets. I brought pets. They are predators," another council member snapped, her voice sharp and fearful. "We see their fangs. We hear their growls. How can such beasts be harmless?" The human stepped closer to the cage. His hand rested on the bars as if he trusted the creatures completely. One cub immediately pressed against the bars where his hand rested, rubbing its head like it sought his touch. The growl turned into a strange sound, half purr, half rumble. The human turned back to the council. "Look, they know me. They trust me. They are only cubs, young and curious. With love and care, they will bond with you the same way. Do not mistake their nature for danger." But the aliens were not convinced. An elder with pale skin and trembling hands leaned forward. "And when they grow, what then, human? These small cubs will not stay small. What happens when their claws are as long as knives, when their teeth can tear through armor?" The human's grin widened. "Then they will be even better companions, stronger, fiercer, loyal to those they call family." Gasps rippled through the chamber. Some aliens stepped back, afraid of even being close to the cages. Others stared with fascination, caught between fear and wonder. One young alien in the crowd pointed at the cubs, its voice high with alarm. "They look hungry." The cubs seemed to hear the word. Two of them snapped their jaws in the air, making sharp clicking sounds. One paw struck against the bars with a loud clang. The The sound made the entire crowd recoil. The council leader raised his hand to silence the panic. His voice was firm, but inside, doubt pressed hard against his mind. Ambassador, we asked for harmless animals. Something safe for our children. These things are killers. Do you mock us? The human's eyes flashed. His smile softened, but it carried something darker beneath. No, I honor you. You asked for companions, gentle pets. But what good is gentleness without strength? What comfort is safety if it is only an illusion? His words struck the chamber like thunder. The aliens murmured nervously. They did not understand the human way of thinking. To them, a pet was a creature to hug, to play with, to calm the spirit. But to the human, it seemed a pet was also a protector, a guardian. The cubs shifted again. One yawned, showing rows of sharp teeth. Another clawed at the bars, then sat back with an almost smug expression. They did not look afraid of the crowd. Instead, they looked like they were studying it. Finally, one of the cubs let out a loud, deep growl that rolled through the chamber. It was no longer playful. It was a warning. The aliens froze. Their bodies stiffened. Their voices died. Even those who had been curious a moment before now felt their instincts scream at them. These are predators. Predators do not belong in homes. And yet, the human reached into the cage. A cry went up from the crowd. No, it will bite you. But the cub did not bite. It pressed its head against his hand, rubbing like a tame creature. The human scratched behind its ears, and the cub's glowing eyes closed in pleasure. A low, rumbling purr filled the chamber. The human looked back at the council. See? Dangerous? No. Loyal. Protective. Loving. These cubs will not harm their family. They will only harm your enemies. The leader's voice trembled, though he tried to keep it strong. But we asked for harmless pets, not weapons. The human's grin grew sharp again. Harmless pets are useless. Harmless pets cannot defend you when danger comes. But these are partners. They will love you and guard you. And if anyone dares to hurt you, he paused. His hands slid out of the cage, and the cub's eyes snapped open, glowing like fire in the dim chamber. They will remember the predator's teeth. The silence that followed was heavy, almost suffocating. No one dared to speak. The aliens stared at the human, at the cubs, and at one another. Some saw only terror. Others felt an unexpected thrill at the idea of having such powerful companions. But one truth burned in all their minds. The human had not misunderstood their request. He had chosen to twist it. They had asked for harmless pets. And he had delivered predators, cubs, yes, but predators still. And the worst part of all, he had done it with a smile. The chamber was filled with silence, but it was not a peaceful silence. It was heavy, uneasy, the kind that pressed down on every mind. The predator cubs shifted in their cages, their glowing eyes scanning the room. Their sharp teeth caught the light whenever they opened their jaws. They were small, yes, but every alien in the chamber could see what they would become. Their future was written in their claws. At last, the council leader broke the silence. His silver eyes fixed on the human. You promised us harmless pets. These are not harmless. Why have you done this? The human's smile was calm, almost gentle. Because harmless is an illusion. The words carried across the chamber, sharp and cold. He stepped forward, his boots echoing on the floor. The cubs followed his movement, their heads tilting, their glowing eyes tracking him as if they were tied to his shadow. He stopped in the center of the council and spread his hands. Tell me, counselors, what good is a harmless pet? Sits, it eats, it sleeps. It offers warmth, perhaps a little joy. But when danger comes, when the shadows grow teeth, will it protect you? Will it fight for you? Will it die for you? Murmurs spread through the aliens. Some shook their heads, others lowered their eyes. The human's voice grew stronger. My people have always lived with predators. On our world, survival is never given. It must be earned. Our companions are animals. They were never only for comfort. They were partners. Hunters beside hunters. Guardians beside families. Even the smallest creature can bare its teeth to defend what it loves. One council member stood abruptly, her long robes shaking. This is madness. You bring killers into our homes and call it friendship? Our children would not be safe near such things. The human turned his eyes on her. His grin faded into something colder, sharper. Safe? He repeated softly. Do you truly believe you are safe? The chamber froze. The human's words fell like stones into a still lake. You speak of safety as if it is real. But look around your galaxy. Wars burn on the edges. Pirates raid your ships. Even among your own people, danger grows. And you ask for safety from something soft? Something weak. He turned back to the cages and laid his hand on the bars. The cub pressed its head against his fingers, purring like a storm trapped in a small body. This, he said, his voice low and steady, is true safety, not softness, not weakness, loyalty, power, teeth that defend you, claws that strike for you. A predator who loves you is safer than a harmless thing that does nothing. The chamber was split. Some aliens whispered in fear, imagining these cubs growing into monsters. Others whispered in awe, imagining them as protectors, companions that could stand against any enemy. The leader raised his hand for silence. His voice was careful, controlled. Ambassador, your words are strong, but our people are not like yours. We do not live with hunters. We do not fight each day to survive. To us, safety is peace. A predator cannot bring peace. The human tilted his head, almost pitying. Peace without strength is only waiting for the day it breaks. You call yourself safe, but you are only untested. The first shadow that falls will shatter your illusion. And then what? You will wish you had something more than harmless pets. The cubs growled suddenly, their voices rising together. It was not anger, it was hunger, power, nature. The sound rolled across the chamber like thunder, making several aliens flinch. The human let the moment hang, then spoke again, softer now. You fear them because you do not understand them, but they do not fear you. They see you. They will learn you. And when they call you family, nothing in this galaxy will dare touch you. One young alien counselor leaned forward, his eyes wide with curiosity rather than fear. And if they never see us as family? He asked quietly. The human smiled again, slow and sharp. Then you will learn why we call them predators. The silence that followed was colder than space itself. The leader sat back, his silver eyes clouded with doubt. He could feel his people divided. Some were terrified, some were intrigued, and some were tempted. Finally he spoke, voice low. Your words are dangerous, human. You offer us power, but at a cost. I do not know if we are ready for such a gift. The human bowed slightly, his grin returning. Every gift has a cost. Harmlessness is cheap. Loyalty is priceless. The choice is yours. The cubs pressed against the bars again, their glowing eyes fixed on the council. They purred and growled at the same time, a sound both soothing and terrifying. The aliens could not look away. For the first time, many of them began to wonder if the human was right. The chamber air grew heavier with every heartbeat. The predator cubs pressed against the bars, their glowing eyes fixed on the council. Growls and purrs blended together, a strange sound that unsettled everyone. The council leader leaned forward, his silver eyes sharp. Ambassador, words can be twisted. Promises can be false. Show us why we should believe these beasts are companions and not threats. The human's grin widened. Very well, he said softly. Watch. Before anyone could stop him, he reached down and released the lock on one of the cages. A gasp swept through the chamber. The metal bars slid open and the cub stepped out. It moved slowly at first, sniffing the air, its claws clicking softly on the polished floor. Its fur shimmered under the lights, sleek and dark. Its tail swayed back and forth like a waiting blade. The aliens shrank back in fear. Some counselors stood from their seats, ready to flee. Guards raised their weapons but hesitated, waiting for the leader's command. The cub ignored them all, padded straight toward the human. When it reached him, it pressed its head against his leg, rubbing like a playful kitten. The human crouched down, scratching behind its ears. The cub purred loudly, the sound vibrating in the air like a deep engine. "See," the human said, his voice calm. "To me it is harmless, because I am its family." The council murmured, unsettled but intrigued. Then suddenly the cub's head snapped up. Its glowing eyes locked onto an alien counselor who had stepped too close. The alien's body stiffened. The cub growled, low and dangerous, its sharp teeth bared. The entire chamber froze. The alien counselor trembled, his voice breaking. "Leader, do you see? It is dangerous. It feels my fear." The human's hand rested gently on the cub's back. He whispered something in a low tone, words too soft for the others to hear. The cub's growl faded. It sat down beside him, tail curled neatly, eyes still fixed on the trembling alien, but no longer moving to attack. The human rose, his eyes sweeping across the chamber. "You see? They are predators, yes. They sense fear. They respond to it. But fear is not their master. Loyalty is. Bond with them and they will defend you. Threaten them, and—" He let the words trail off. The unfinished sentence carried more weight than any answer. The cub licked its paw, completely calm now, as if nothing had happened. The leader's silver eyes narrowed. "And if they decide wrongly? If they attack by mistake?" The human crouched again, letting the cub climb slightly onto his arm. Its claws pressed lightly against his uniform, but it did not harm him. He looked at the leader, his voice firm. "Then you correct them. You guide them, just as you would guide a child. Raise them with kindness, and their loyalty will never break. Raise them with cruelty, and they will remember. Every bond has rules." The chamber buzzed with whispers. Some counselors looked horrified, unable to imagine such creatures in their peaceful homes. Others were leaning forward now, eyes gleaming with interest. They saw not just predators but guardians, protectors stronger than any harmless animal could ever be. The human placed the cub gently back on the floor. It circled him once, then lay at his feet, eyes half closed, purring deeply. It looked for a brief moment like any ordinary pet. The human's voice cut through the whispers. "You asked me for harmless pets, but harmless is weakness. Harmless cannot stand beside you when danger comes. This," he gestured to the cub. "This is what true companionship means. A bond of love, a bond of loyalty, and a bond of strength." The leader leaned back, torn. His mind wrestled between fear and possibility. "If what you say is true, then these creatures could change us." The human nodded slowly, his grin returning. "Yes, they will. The choice is yours. Comfort without defense, or loyalty with teeth." The cub suddenly raised its head again, growling low. Everyone stiffened. But this time, the growl was not aimed at any counselor. It echoed toward the chamber doors. The guards turned quickly, checking the entryway. Nothing was there. The cub's glowing eyes stayed fixed, unblinking, as if it saw something no one else could. The human stroked its head. His voice was quiet, but his words carried across the chamber. "They see threats before you do, even when you believe you are safe." That thought chilled the chamber more than the growl itself. The leader finally raised his hand, silencing the whispers. His voice was heavy. "We have seen enough for today. The council will decide." The human bowed slightly, his smile never fading. "Decide wisely," he said, "because once you bond with them, there is no going back." The cub's glowing eyes flickered as it stared at the aliens. It purred again, deep and steady, like the sound of a storm waiting just beyond the horizon. And for the first time, many in the chamber began to wonder, not if they could control the predators, but if the predators would choose to control them. The chamber was still tense, but the silence was no longer filled with only fear. Now there was something else in the air, curiosity. The predator cub lay calmly at the human's feet, its glowing eyes half closed, its purr deep and steady. It looked peaceful, almost gentle. Yet everyone in the chamber remembered how quickly it had growled, how sharp its teeth were, how dangerous it could become. The council leader's silver eyes scanned the room. He saw fear on some faces, but also fascination on others. His people were divided, and he knew a choice had to be made. Finally, he turned to the human. "Ambassador, you have shown us strength. But strength frightens us as much as it tempts us. Tell us, why should we accept these cubs, when they might one day destroy us?" The human crouched again, stroking the cub's head. The creature leaned into his hand, rumbling softly. He looked up, his eyes calm, his smile quiet. "Because they will not destroy you. They will love you. They will protect you. If you raise them with care, they will be yours for life. Their strength becomes your strength. Their teeth become your shield." He paused, then added, "You asked for pets to bring comfort. These cubs bring comfort in another way. The comfort of knowing you are never alone. The comfort of knowing something fierce stands between you and danger. That is true peace." The council murmured again. The words struck deep. Many of them had never considered that peace without protection was fragile. They had lived in calmness for so long that they had forgotten the shadows beyond their stars. At last, one counselor, a younger voice, rose from his seat. He walked forward slowly, his movements cautious but determined. His eyes stayed locked on the cub. "If your words are true, human, then let me test it." The chamber gasped. The young counselor stopped a few steps away from the human. The cub lifted its head, glowing eyes narrowing. A low growl rolled from its chest. The human whispered softly, placing his hand on the cub's back. "Easy." The growl faded. The cub blinked once, then tilted its head curiously at the alien. The young counselor lowered himself to one knee. Slowly, trembling slightly, he extended his hand. The chamber held its breath. The cub sniffed the air, then padded forward on silent paws. His claws clicked on the floor. It stopped in front of the alien's hand, eyes glowing like twin embers. For a long moment it only stared. Then suddenly, it pressed its head against his palm. The chamber erupted in gasps. The young counselor laughed nervously, relief flooding his face. It accepted me." The cub purred, rubbing against him like a tame creature. Its sharp teeth were still there, its claws still deadly. But in that moment, it was only gentle. The human's smile softened. "Do you see? Loyalty. Once it chooses you, it is yours. And you are its." The leader's silver eyes widened slightly. For the first time, doubt in his heart turned into possibility. He looked at his people and saw their fear melting into awe. The vision of predators as only danger was breaking. Now they were beginning to see them as something greater. He rose to his full height and spread his hands. "The council has spoken. These creatures are not what we asked for. They are not harmless. But perhaps they are better. We will accept your gift, human. We will learn to raise them. And maybe one day, they will be part of our families." The chamber filled with cheers. Some still hesitated, but many were excited, their voices rising in waves. For the first time, the cub's growls no longer sounded like warnings. They sounded like the heartbeat of something new. The human bowed slightly, his grin returning. "Then you have chosen wisely. They will not disappoint you. They will grow with you, protect you, and love you. And when the day comes that danger reaches your world," his eyes narrowed, his voice lowered into a steady promise, "they will be ready." The cub beside him lifted its head and gave a soft sound. Not a growl this time, but almost a chirp. It rubbed once more against the young counselor before curling up at his feet, purring deeply. The chamber erupted in laughter, cheers, and relief. The council leader's silver eyes softened. He looked at the human and gave a small nod. "You have given us not what we wanted, but perhaps what we needed." The human straightened, his smile warm now, not sharp. "That," he said, "is the human way." And with that, the predator cubs remained not as threats, not as monsters, but as the first bridge between fear and friendship.